Сегодня в 4 часа утра, без всякого объявления войны, германские вооруженные силы атаковали границы Советского Союза.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force. You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you.
Men of War 2. Well, today we finally get to take our first look at one of the single-player missions for this upcoming new RTS game. Of course, being a sequel to the original Men of War, which paved the way for Men of War Assault Squad and eventually the superior Call to Arms Gates of Hell Ostfront, which I find to be just absolutely mind-blowing. But this game, as you may have seen before on the channel, had a multiplayer playtest, and it was quite good. I enjoyed what I saw, but I want to see a lot more from this game in order to judge it as a whole. And so on May 11th to May 15th, everybody can go to Steam and request access. In fact, I think you could do it now to their single-player playtest, which will allow you to play one of the missions that will be available. Likely, the one we'll be able to see today. Now, I think this game has a long way to go, and I think a lot of feedback will make this better even after release, but that goes the same for any of these World War II games, whether you're talking about Company of Heroes, or Men of War Assault Squad, or any mods that may come out, or a whole new game, such as this one. Yeah, should be good stuff. So, let's take a first look at one of the missions that the devs have played.
Now warming up your asses by the fire. Get ready. We're moving out in 10.
Well, that's a familiar voice actor for sure.
Go to that village, Croissant, and get our
Croissant?
guys out of the Fritz's clutches. This
Ooh.
is a rescue mission.
Look at the
Nice tanks.
bossing people around when he's barely smelled a Bosch in his life.
Sergeant
Whoa.
Howard, do not disrespect your superiors.
Sir, yes, sir. But you don't forget who you are either, Lieutenant. Me and the other combat engineers are not here to change a rookie lieutenant's diapers.
Oh, the tanks look wonderful. And sound good, too.
Why didn't HQ send us a proper officer?
Oh, a steward pulling up.
Hold it, Sergeant. I'm here, and that means you're going to follow my orders.
Alright, what's the mission? Oh, a roadblock. That's going to be a trap right there.
There's a pile of some crap heaped up down the road. Sergeant Howard, take your men and check it. If there aren't any mines, we're gonna ram right through.
Yes, sir. You, in the meantime, can sit here and not get in the way.
Oh, there's definitely going to be mines. Alright, so just as an FYI, again, this is the developer playing. I'm not playing at all, so it's interesting to take a backseat to see someone else's gameplay for this one. And also, as they're a dev, they could showcase some features we haven't yet seen in multiplayer, or those that are only available in single player, for example. And I believe a lot of these missions are also playable co-op.
Landmines, Lieutenant. That mess is going to take at least a couple of hours to clean up.
In progress. Damn it,
Oh,
that
wow.
was the shortest path. Yes, sir.
Can't you just drive around? It looks
If we can't
passable
mess
on the
around,
right there. Go through the
the crowds
pond.
are gonna turn our guys in the village into bratwursts.
You're right, Sergeant. So we should waste no time and go through the bocage. The infantry first, and the tanks right behind them.
Oh boy. A bocage. That's going to be death.
Got it, sir.
It's a bad decision.
Got it, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Being led right into a German trap for sure. Oh, are those easy 8s there? Nice.
The hell with it. If we keep doing this by the goddamn numbers, we're gonna lose our guys. Lieutenant,
Love seeing the exhaust out of the back of the tanks.
Halt, Sergeant Bridges.
Yes, sir.
Wow, they move so fast.
Yes, sir.
Like a sports car, not a tank.
Sir.
What wonderful shrubberies these French have. The idiots in Shermans keep trying to crawl in. Squad, open fire!
Sergeant Bridges, damn you. From now on, everyone will listen to my orders.
In progress. We'll do that.
Well, they lost a tank. That's great.
Throw smoke grenades at the Fritzes and take out their guns.
Got it, sir.
The tanks are staying put till this overgrowth has been cleared of Fritzes with anti-tank.
Ah, there's the third person shooting. Nice. I think you can also throw grenades this way too. And pretty much interact any way you want. So it's an RTS, but also, I guess, technically a third person shooter too, as you can grab control of any soldier at any time, including the tanks too. So always nice to be able to micromanage on the first or third person level and be able to lob a shell into a window or throw a grenade into a trench more accurately. Certainly saving time and saving lives. And also a little bit of GTA there, stealing the Kraut's anti-tank gun and bringing that along for the fun. Good. Troops moving up through the orchard. One of the tanks there wiped out.
Yes, sir.
Looks like they're...
German armored cars heading straight for us.
Uh-oh. Kraut armor. Looks like they're stealing some stuff from the Germans.
Panicking. We've got tanks for that. Take care of the guns and the anti-tank infantry while we blow up this armored truck.
Got it, sir. Got it, sir.
Alright, so an armored car. Worst case, it could be a Puma. Best case could be like a 223. And indeed it is. A 222, I think. Nice.
Got it, sir.
Well, not a lot of cover here aside from the rocks. And it looks like another place where the Germans were trying to ambush, but doesn't seem to have worked out. Infantry went up earlier and cleared the way for the tanks. That's good. So I guess a little bit of the, what, Rottenkrieg, the rat warfare of the Bocage. So obviously a little bit further into the Normandy campaign here, or maybe even into the, what is it, the Falaise Pocket. I'm not even sure where this battle took place, but certainly good to see not just the D-Day landings and the aftermath of that, but a little further into the invasion of France by the Allies. Oh, weapons sound good. Now, another thing that I like that I saw in multiplayer is that a lot of these troops actually get the ability to dig either foxholes or trenches, too. So as we're moving up from, you know, hedgerow to hedgerow, if the Germans launch a counterattack, it might be a good idea to just, you know, dig a trench to fall back to. You know, if you're playing this mission for the first time and not sure what's going to happen, it might be a wise idea to possibly dig a trench in the middle of one of these fields, and if the Germans attack from any direction, you'd be ready for it. But of course, these missions also have, or likely will have, the ability to play them on a harder difficulty.
Get your rust buckets moving.
So obviously, each time that you play, you can up the difficulty and take more losses. It's kind of more realistic that
Go ahead
way.
and move out. We've been stuck here long enough as it is.
But as I've played so much time in Men of War Assault Squad 2 with the Rob's Realism mod, or really played a lot of Call to Arms Gates of Hell, a lot of those vehicles are slower and heavier. The turn time of an anti-tank gun is very long, and, you know, for example, a machine gun setting up and being able to fire takes a little bit more time, but also a machine gun much more deadly. But it seems like, at least in this game, infantry are not necessarily a bullet sponge, and neither the tanks, but they certainly do respond very quickly. They feel like they're really just like cardboard vehicles, where they have armor and they're able to defend themselves and can deflect shells, but they're not really heavy, so they're nimble and can move very quickly. A Sherman, for example, feels like a Stuart, and a Stuart feels like a, I don't know, like a go-kart or something. But the landscapes look gorgeous, and I think they live up to all the, you know, screenshots and some of the intro cutscenes we see.
Yes, sir.
All right, up to the village now.
Belloc had more luck today than I did.
Moving up an AT gun and more infantry. Infantry actually protecting the AT gun too, that's smart. And another good thing is if the infantry and the AT gun get killed, it can just be immediately recrewed and allow it to fire with minimal loss of time on reloading. Another thing too is I would imagine the reload times of AT and tank guns are a little faster too, as where an AT gun could be somewhere around maybe 15 to 30 seconds. It's almost more like 5 seconds between each shot, 5 to 10. But again, I think they're going for a more arcadey and kind of fun experience to be better, maybe to introduce people into this game a little bit more. But I think I'm really interested in the single-player missions here to see what battles they go to and what fronts are mostly available. Obviously, the Japanese are not part of this game, as they were a part of Metal War Assault Squad 2, I believe, for the first time, I think. They weren't in the original, but you did have the British in North Africa and the Germans as well, and then you had, of course, the Americans and the Soviets. I think some of the first missions of the original Metal War were the Soviet missions and defending factories and that kind of thing.
Welcome to Croissant, Lieutenant, sir.
Love the blades on the front of the Sherman there for cutting through the bocage.
Lieutenant Belloc is in command of this unit. Where is he, Sergeant?
Killed by the Bosch, sir. Now I command the Company H gunners, sir. Name's Bishop.
What's with the long radio silence, Sergeant?
Our only working radio got hit by a bullet. The Bosch had been breathing down our necks for 2 days straight. I wanted to cross the river with my men, but there were landmines along the road. And the Germans were watching the crossing. They had anti-tank guns hidden in the bocage.
Sergeant Bishop, sir, the Krauts are coming. They'll be here in a couple of minutes.
Ooh, a defense.
All right, Bishop, we'll talk later. Right now, I've got to get your asses out of here. We retreat across the river as soon as the Fritzes ease up the pressure. Nobody tried to be a hero. Had enough of that shit today.
We'll comply, sir. I'll do my best.
Alright, so the Germans are on the way to attack the village, but yet we're trying to withdraw the forces that are exhausted and or out of ammunition. Makes sense, changing the guard, and a good spot to put that AT gun on the other side of the river. No unexpected surprises from infantry, and a good position to stay hidden. Now, I even think I've seen in the multiplayer for this game the ability for tanks to dig in themselves and possibly add camouflage, so giving anti-tank crews the ability to build their own defenses and concealment would be quite cool.
Hold position till I give the order to retreat. We can't let them strike at our back.
Wow, we got a lot of tanks, too. Kind of cool to hear the Germans.
Handful of gunners, Herr Oberst.
Got it, sir.
Excellent. We shall deal with them and have time for supper before nightfall.
For the motherland!
Last reminder. None of you bastards leave the village till I give the damn order. The point is to slow the Krauts down so they don't hit us in the back as we retreat to our positions.
This guy's like Patton.
So now, we have to hold out as long as we can.
Alright, wow, they give you no real time to prepare at all. It's just enough time to maybe put some tanks down some roads, but likely you're going to take some losses as you're just directly blocking the road rather than trying to flank. And nice explosions there. I believe that was one of the AT guns that was in the town from the people here before us. Oh yeah, you can see one of the... Oh! That vehicle on the right is actually... It has sandbags around it, but it looks like it's also concealed. Oh yeah, this one too. I'm not sure if that's... I saw it looks like foliage around it before it moved, so I'm not sure if that was an attempt at concealment or if they just placed it there and it just happened to like include the tree. But
what are these Germans then?
I'm sorry, Herr Oberst. I don't know where they came from.
All right, I think I see. It's the reinforcements. Scheiße. What an unpleasant surprise. We shall have to field additional reserves. Get my Tiger ready.
oh boy. Alright, so now a Tiger coming. Not as fearsome in this version of the game from what I've experienced in multiplayer. Although in multiplayer it's quite easy to kill a Tiger because of the air assets that everybody has access to. And also, when you're dealing with a Tiger, or really even any sort of enemy tank, if you're the Americans, you want to try to double team against any enemy armor. So for example, the Hellcat here will do a really good job of being able to like outmaneuver enemy tanks, but you'll need something to attract this attention. Yeah, the Hellcat there being lost, but the Sherman kind of pulling back to take some of the fire. Kind of cool that you can move back into the position, but you can mostly destroy the defenses around the vehicle quickly. It would be nice if there was, when that defense was built for the tank, if it could kind of be entered like a building where the tank would then guide itself back into the defense. But also cool that it could be blown apart by a rocket strike or mortars or something like that to soften up the defenses. It might not kill the tank, of course, but it could do some pretty good damage to pre-built defenses and then make it a lot easier to destroy. Damn. They're engaging from a pretty long range here. I feel like the ranges in this game are pretty good. Other games, they would be around like 75 or 100 meters, and you'd have to like, or like a long-range gun would be like 150. A lot of things were kind of, I guess, made to be more competitive, to where you'd have a light vehicle only able to fire 75 to 100, medium maybe like 100 to 125, and a heavy vehicle like 150 plus, like a Tiger or Nashorn or something like that. Oh yeah. Good to bring the Sherman up the road. Kind of lacking on the infantry now, but obviously wanting to put them into cover because all the fire and heavy vehicles coming in, yeah, from all directions now. Probably better to keep them in buildings and or hidden from enemy fire as much as possible, really. Hell of a lot of fire. I want to see more infantry. Let me see the German half-tracks. Where are they at? There's a lot of tanks coming in. But I do want to see Panzer Grenadiers rolling in, half-tracks.
Crowds are retreating. Judging by how boldly they went in, I don't think they were expecting my tanks.
Still a little bit more to the mission.
Everybody, we're retreating across the river. That's an order. M18 crew, if you're still alive, you've got the speed advantage. You'll go last. Cover us for now. Yes, sir.
Oh no, they're dead. No, that M18 is dead. Hellcat's out.
Got it, sir.
Alright, so all the infantry are being pulled back to like a gathering area. Probably smart to have everybody kind of move back at once into an area and then pull out completely. Well, it looks like they're even able to bring some of the guns with via transports. Cool.
Excellent, Gefreiter. We'll start with a jolly Panzerwerfer salvo.
Oh. Panzerwerfers. Now they bring the artillery. Another thing that I saw in multiplayer too is when buildings get destroyed, troops can take cover in the rubble and or basements of those buildings as if it were still enterable cover, which I really like. When a building is destroyed, it's not that it's just kind of been flattened and is like just like a parking lot that could be driven over by tanks. If the building's destroyed and the infantry might not have the height advantage or as many windows to shoot out of, but they can certainly hide in the rubble and still be a formidable force, and tanks still can't drive over that. Just because a 3-story building has crumbled and is now destroyed doesn't mean that it can just be like passed through or over. It's kind of just a huge heap of rubble that tanks and more likely infantry kind of want to avoid unless you're covering in there, and that's a good spot to defend. Unexpected, but obviously less cover. Cool to see this retreat too, a tactical withdrawal with all the equipment and the infantry coming along too, and enemies still attacking, but yet tanks and vehicles kind of covering on the other side of the river to cover their crossing and then falling back and going at high speed away from there to then try to get to whatever position they're retreating to. I must say this is also likely an early mission for the game too, as there's not really, I don't think this is mission 1, but it certainly feels a lot earlier to where the amount of vehicles and infantry they give you is more than enough to deal with the Germans. And not to mention, you kind of get reinforcements at the village, and then some of these vehicles show up to withdraw again with all those AT guns. One thing I've liked about the previous Men of Wars 2 is I believe there were a few missions that were multi-part. Like you would spend one mission taking an enemy village, and then the next mission would be like a completely separate mission to defend it. Oh, and here comes all the Panzerwerfers. Yeah, if you don't leave, you're going to have a bad time. Cool. Is that tank damaged? Might be best just to abandon that. But yeah, I think the devs doing a good job of... I think they've purposely made some mistakes, too, just to show explosions and vulnerability of your own vehicles, too. It doesn't seem too heavily one-sided, but with the amount of firepower that you have on your side, certainly capable of destroying more enemy vehicles than they can throw at you. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this game, yeah, just like the GTA, vehicles can be repaired, too, and stolen. Or repaired and, you know, your own vehicles can be knocked out, repaired, and brought back into service again. Looks like they're getting out of there right in time. Oh, German vehicle there. Sounds like an armored car. With that high rate of fire, we have ourselves a destroyed Luke's. Ah. And track damaged again. Yeah, the crew should just retreat.
Without your tanks, it will be lights out for us.
You're a good soldier, Bishop. Colonel von Salz's battle group was who engaged us today. I've read about him in the papers. He destroyed a British tank battalion in Africa with his Tigers and took no losses. The Germans dubbed him Der Fleischer for that, the butcher.
Yeah, sure. Now's the right time to be afraid of Jerry's, Lieutenant. We almost kicked their asses if you didn't give that cowardly order to retreat.
Cut it out, Sergeant Howard. You keep acting out of line, I'm gonna report you to Major Hendricks.
If you say so, sir.
Cool. All right, not bad. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. That's it for now. I'll see you next time.